So it's one thing to learn in theory about our oppression as white people. It's another thing to encounter it. Um, and when I encountered it recently, it reminded me of why our anti-oppression work matters so much. I am facilitating a class at a house for women ex-prisoners, a halfway house of sorts. And the theory here, and it is theory, was that I, young, educated white woman, would be able to facilitate them in learning to own their anger. Now, this is different from anger management. Anger management says control your anger. This says you have a right to your anger, it's what you do with it. The mistake going in, the oppression on my side, was the assumption that I knew better than them what they needed, and that they might not be aware of where they needed to go and what they needed to learn. But of course they do. I was not respecting their inherent worth and dignity the way I meant to. Fortunately for me, I was gently and lovingly called out on it by one of the participants, who let me know, in no uncertain terms, that what I was doing was making her feel, no, that what I was doing felt reminiscent of the various ways she had been oppressed over the years. And that opened up the space for a really important discussion. It opened up the ability for us to talk about what it would look like to truly hear each other, what the value is of truly being heard, our true story. And for me, that's much more profound than anything I can teach them. The anger that I elicited in this woman by acting in the oppressive manner I did was a really good example. It was an example of what it looks like when we don't hear the quote unquote the other. These are discussions that I hope we can bring back to our churches, that we can start to have the hard discussions of where oppression is so embedded in us that we don't even see it. So when we, at the church in Long Beach a couple of years ago, we tried to do this anti-oppression work, and we tried to do it in preparation for calling a minister. And I wasn't active in the movement. I didn't understand why it mattered. I thought, haven't we done this work since the 1960s? Do we really need to keep discussing this? And I'm very grateful, personally and professionally, and in my calling, to be reminded that yes, we still need to do this work. As long as the disparities exist, as long as the oppressions exist, as long as differentiations in power exist, we need to do this work.